What is up, everybody? We are back at it again with another video. This video is called How to Build Mental Toughness by Alex Hormozi. So let's lock and load.
Matters more than motivation. And so mental toughness comes down to four things, which obviously when my mother died, I had to think through, like, how am I going to respond to this obviously negative event in my life? And she died all of a sudden. No one thought it was going to happen. It was just very fast, which in some ways I can be very grateful for, right? She didn't have like a long suffering period. And so there are four things that I think happen when any negative event occurs.
Tolerance, fortitude, resilience, adaptability. Tolerance, how you can tolerate your skills, your things, your whatever it is. Fortitude, what is the downslope that increases severely? Resilience, what do you bounce back from? And adaptability, how do you make this everlasting?
Something against your preferences, something bad, is that the first level is how much bad stuff can happen before you force it to change the way you live. The second component, before
The first component is mental toughness, and my model is tolerance. This is how much hardship, the number of hardships, or how long you can endure hardship before you have to change the behavior, before you snap. So what is the hardship, how much hardship you can take on, the number of hardships, and how long you can endure within this hardship. I don't think I really need to explain anymore. He explained that very well. So next.
you force it to change the way you live. The second
Fortitude is the intensity of behavior change once your tolerant threshold has been surpassed, which is the downslope, which is the down trough. That's why I call it a trough, not a slope, because it has many different troughs within your life. You'll go through multiple different troughs. And it's the intensity of the behavior that is changed once your trough threshold has been surpassed. So whatever surpassing or trough threshold that has been surpassed within the past days, to past weeks, to past years. Because without understanding your tolerance, you may never know where this life will lead to. Next.
component is, okay, something rattles you enough that you change the way you behave. Once you change the way you behave,
In which you change the way you behave, you change the way you live your life.
basically, how upset do you get? How low do you go?
How upset, how low, what is your bottom, what is your breaking point, what is your rock bottom moment within this moment? Let's continue.
Who's more mentally tough would take longer to get upset, and then if they do get upset, they do snap. They only change their behavior a tiny bit. That's it. So they're not like, oh, I'm going to go start taking heroin, and I'm going to go cheat on my wife, and I'm going to go, drive drunk. They're like, I might have some ice cream tonight, right? And then once they're on that negative path,
And the fortitude is the intensity of behavior change once your tolerant threshold has been surpassed, which whatever it is, you're trying to move forward, to persevere, to do more, because when you do more, you take more on. And it's the intensity of the behavior change once your tolerant threshold has been surpassed by fortitude, which is the bottom part of all this.
the next level of our element of mental toughness is how fast.
Third is resilience, how you can come back, how you can bounce back after a change in behavior has occurred from a new to a bad thing, and how long does it take to get a new baseline. Whatever this baseline is, it is the utmost fortitude thing that you must do, is understand your dreams, reality, and goals within the baseline of your life.
You come back, which is resiliency. How fast do you rebound back to where you were?
How fast do you rebound? How fast do you come back? How fast do you do? How fast do you react? How fast do you rebound back to baseline?
Somebody who, someone says a cross word to you, old school cross, right? That something mean to you, and then you let it bother you for a week, you let it bother you for 2 weeks, a month.
Third is resilience. After changing the behavior has occurred from a bad thing, how long does it take to return to a new baseline? which whatever your baseline is, it's your definition of what it is you're truly going through.
Before you rebound, even if it was a small thing and a small change of behavior, if you have low resiliency, it just takes you a long time to get to baseline. And then the fourth element is,
and the final component of mental toughness is adaptability. How your new baseline compares to the old baseline. Baseline is dreams, goals, realizations, reality checks, whatever it is you want to call it. A baseline is a baseline thing that you come back and you bounce back on.
when you do rebound, how much do you rebound? Do you just rebound below where you were? Did it by the way, that's a traumatic event. It permanently changed your behavior. Do you get back to baseline? So it didn't permanently change you, was not traumatic. Or you go above baseline. You adapt. You're better than you were before the bad thing happened, which, by the way, also traumatizes you. Because for those of you who hear this all over social media, translate the word trauma into a permanent change in behavior from an aversive, bad stimulus, thing that happened. So trauma means that you just change. You permanently change the way you act when something bad happens. Is there a world where you can change how you act permanently, where you behave better than you did before? Yeah, many of you, many humans, not the current generation, let's say a generation or two back, were traumatized by your parents many times, sometimes with a belt, sometimes with a hanger, sometimes with a spoon, sometimes with a hand, sometimes with a shoe or a slipper, sometimes with your head, who knows? The point is that you did something, you got smacked, and then you permanently stopped doing that. They traumatized you. Was trauma bad in that situation? No. It's only bad if it permanently changes your behavior.
It's only bad if it permanently changes your behavior. Because if you don't become permanently changed or moved or whatever it is you're permanently changing, you know what I'm getting at with this. Once you permanently change, you become new stimulus and new behavior.
In a way that is against the type of person that you want to be or the types of behaviors that you
against the type of person that you want to be, type of person that you want to do, type of person you want to be around. Without knowing what you want to be, you may never know what this life will lead you to.
To act in or do. And so when I thought about those things, and I was forced this year to actually define what is mental toughness. People throw this out a lot. How can I measure this? And then if I can measure it, then it means that I can improve it. And so when someone says, hey man, toughen up or get mentally tougher, now at least you have 4 variables that you can think of in your mind. I want to take longer for something to change the way I act. If it does change the way I act, I want it to change it as little as possible. And if I notice that my behavior has changed, I want to rebound as quickly as I can as soon as I notice that it changes. And then not only that, I want to be better for it, not worse. And then that's what happens. And the shift that occurs is that life starts happening for you, not to you. You become the victor of your circumstances rather than the victim. You become the person who's in the driver's seat. And the reason that so many people are aversive to that concept is because it is so much easier to cast blame outwards, right? Your power follows the direction of where you point blame. So if you say, I'm this way because my mom didn't hug me enough, I'm this way because my dad didn't hug me enough, then guess who actually has complete control over your life? Them, or your perception of them.
Because wherever you point the blame finger, the blame will follow, is what he's implying. And whatever this blame is, you are blaming yourself or other people for your blame, which means only you can change your life and you cannot change others. So 1, change your life, 2, impact others in a way that you want to be impacted by others, because it's also the realm of what's the realization that you're trying to get from, what is the belief, what is the thought, what is the doing.
You said, I am this way because I am not resilient enough.
I am this way because I'm not that resilient. I must build resilience by the thoughts and actions of others. And the thoughts and actions of others will be different in the realm of thinking.
I was not adaptive enough. I didn't have enough tolerance.
I didn't have enough tolerance. I wasn't adapted. I wasn't myself. I wasn't whatever it is. You know where I'm going with this. You know where he's going with this. So I don't think I need to touch up on any of those.
To be able to handle that level of stress.
to be able to handle that level of stress. Whatever the stress is, content to beliefs to changing people's minds, you cannot change the way they think. The only thing you can do is change the impact that you have on them.
Then guess what you can now do? You can do something about it because you admitted at least you were in charge. You were the one in control.
You can admit that you are at fault. You can admit that you are the flaws of other people and not the flaws of this so-called persona.
Or you have some control, some influence.
When you have influence over some things, you have influence over everything that you do. So don't allow other people's influences to impact the way you think or be about.
For the outcome of how you act. And so defining this was really helpful for me, obviously going through my mother's death and accident and thinking like, what kind of man do I want to be? How do I want to show up to my family? How do I want to be there?
What mentor do I want to be? What family man do I want to be? What thing do I want to build around my life? And whatever this so-called building thing is, it is only for you to know. You can tell your significant other, but it is truly only for you to know.
For everyone else who's going to be at this, at this funeral, extended family, the people from my mom's church who are going to be there, like, how do I want to present myself? And to be clear, I'm not saying that you shouldn't suffer, that you shouldn't mourn.
You should always suffer and mourn. Because if you suffer and mourn, then you may never know where this life will lead you to.
I think that people mourn in 100% unique ways that are entirely of their own. And for anybody to say that you somehow think someone should mourn the way you think they should mourn, fuck you. Real talk.
If you think that people should mourn the way that you want to mourn, and then he stated with fuck you, because only you can mourn the way you want to mourn. You cannot allow other people to choose the way that you mourn.
People can mourn however they want to mourn. And
people can mourn however they want because that is them. Nobody can change them. I'll see you guys in the next one. Always be yourself and be you. Peace.